the um, the university that you're attending such course. One of the things that is unique about today's class, or that we have in common, is that I also started business as a student. I started my business with about $10, which is, if you put it in naira, about $1 million corporation. But I started as a student. So, and I hope that some of what I'm going to share with you are very practical, because there are things that I have had to do when I started. Also, let me say that this is the best time to start business. A lot of people will tell you otherwise, but they are lying. I can tell you that authoritatively. The best time to start. You don't go to school to become rich. In other words, formal education cannot help you to be rich. If you know, type I know. If you don't know, type I don't know. Okay, so I can see a couple of us have, typed here. So if Young is doing his MBA, University of California, Riverside. Jerry, PhD, environmental science, South Africa, beautiful. We have Tolulope Bello, the graduate student at Northern Illinois, okay, University studying management. Josiah is MSc Materials Science and Engineering, Washington State University. I'll be in Baltimore next week by the grace of God. Let me see. Okay, so I can see more people. Somebody is studying civil engineering, PhD in Delaware, chemistry in Florida International University, uh, entomology, Washington State University. Beautiful. You're all welcome. And honestly, I want to thank you for coming, and I promise you're going to have a great time. So I started my business as a student. Of course, I wasn't fortunate to attend good schools like your own. I attended a school called OU, Olavide University, in Ogun State, Nigeria. And so, but let me start. Formal education is not going to help you to become rich. If you know, type I know. If you don't know, type I don't know. I want to see your comments. How many of you are familiar, be it PhD or master's or first degree, that it's not going to help you to become rich, right? Nobody gets rich by going to school. Unfortunately, that's what many of us were told. I was, you know, that was what my mother told me, because my mother was a civil servant and her promotion was affected. And she said it was because she didn't go to the university, which was true anyway. So she kept telling me, go to school, get a good degree so that you can have a good job and, we won't be struggling like, we were struggling growing up. She was right, partially, but unfortunately, by the time I got to university, I remember meeting one of my mentors who taught me in secondary school. He had graduated good grade from University of Ilorin, and I visited him in Lagos. I had just entered pre-degree in Osu, only to see him in a one-room apartment with 8 of his siblings in Lagos. I mean, it was a very horrific, picture. I remember asking him, what happened? What's going on? And at that point, he then opened up to me that he's not been able to get a job despite having a good grade from University of Ilorin, and that things have been very tough, and he's been trying to even help his siblings. And I remember going back to Agowe that day, back to Osu, and I made a vow that when I graduate from school, if there is no job, I will make sure that creates jobs. And my story was that it happened exactly as I thought. By the time I finished school, I spent 8 years instead of 5 years. I wrote a 100 CV with a cover letter that said, "Don't pay me until worked for it for 6 months, and I've been able to prove that I can deliver." Unfortunately, all the places I dropped those CV, they all turned me down, despite asking to work for them for free. The third place I took the CV, the man looked at me and said, "Young man, are you not aware there's no job in this country? I can deceive you and collect your CV, but the truth is I ain't gonna call you to give you any job because your CV, I could see that you started business on campus. My advice would be go back to those businesses you started and pick it up from there, little by little, you'll get there." Now, that was the story. So I picked up the advice and I ran with one of the businesses I started on campus, which was bulk SMS. I used to paste posters from Ikeja along, if you know Lagos, to Songwater in Ogun State. And I was pushing my business. By 2015, we were able to do over 100 million naira in transactions. Today, we built a multi-billion naira corporation in Nigeria, and we also registered as a company in the US and the UK and in Dubai. So, how many of you think you are ready to listen to me now with that introduction? Because some of the hardest people to talk to are students because they are professionals, they are very educated. So, if you now trying to change it in another way, it becomes a bit difficult. So, with this intro, how many of you are ready to listen to me? If you're ready, type "I'm ready, I'm ready, I'm ready." Okay? Come on, guys. I'm waiting. By the way, like I said to you, I'm not as boring as most of your professors. So you better engage me, right? This is not like most of funny enough, I'm running a 3 month management course, at Harvard University. And trust me, guys, it's boring. All my, lectures are quite boring. And I believe that now teaching via Zoom has made it quite worse, so I understand if many of you are not used to engaging, in class and all of that. So I want you to engage. So only 3 people have said they are ready. The rest of us are not ready. Okay, so I can say everybody's ready. Beautiful, beautiful. So let's go. I want to share with you how and why you should start your business as a student. How and why you should start your business as a student. The first will be why. The why you should is because you need to know that going to school teaches you how to manage a business and how to start one. Number two, you need to know that being a student in a formal setting does not teach you how to make money, how to manage money, and how to multiply money. If professors know how, they will be the richest people in the world. I don't know if you agree. If you agree, type okay, if formal education teaches you how to make money, professors will have been the richest people in the world, but they are not. So, first of all, you need to know that you cannot be rich by going to school, right? You what's then the advantage of going to school? There is an advantage, and I encourage you to go to school. One of the advantages of going to school is that it helps you to be learned, to be open, to be exposed, okay, to think outside the box. It helps your mind to see things differently. It helps you to challenge things. And it's a good one. There's nothing wrong with that. I love that you're going to school. Like I told you, I'm currently running a management course with Harvard University. So it's good. However, you need to also understand that the subject of becoming rich is a very important one. I know some of you might have been deceived into the conversation about money is not important. Come on. Someone will probably tell you that you can't be happy. Money can't make you happy. A happy environment. If you agree with me, type I agree. A happy environment. Trust me. In fact, scientists have proven that when you buy a new thing, it secretes certain hormone that helps for happiness. I'm not even afraid it, right? There is a discovery about an issue by a new car to make you happy. Okay, so money is an instrument of change. You're particular about helping people, who are financially challenged, people who are sick, and helping to pay hospital. I love to help people. Come on, guys, talk to me. If you love to help people, type I love to help people. Okay, good, beautiful. So many of you love to help people. How many of you then know that two poor people cannot help themselves? So if you truly definitely cannot be trusted, they must be thieves. If they are rich, they must be thieves. It just creates so much bad blood. So how many of you agree with me that it is good to be wealthy, right? And I know some of you may be Christians and they've taught you money is the root of all evil. That's not true. The Bible never said money is the root of all evil. The Bible said the love of money is the root of all evil. When you begin to worship money, okay, then that begins to bring that. But the same Bible tells you that money is I love to put it in vernacular, money is the bicycle of good gospel. Right? So money is important. The Bible also says money answers all things. And can I shock those of you who may have some religious background that the Bible that you carry, okay, talks more about money than prayers? The Bible talks almost 1,000 times, almost 2,000 times. The Bible made reference to money or asset or real estate or land. And you have about 500 times where prayer was mentioned. How many of you know that every covenant God struck with man, it was always about giving him land, giving him wealth, giving him asset? Now I'm taking time to share these things because I know I need to first of all, break certain walls. Some of you agree with me that there are certain walls that some of us might have had about this whole subject of investment, about money, about building wealth. And if I don't take you through this foundation, I may just be talking to people who already have some wall blocking the whole conversation and say, no, 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 I don't need money. Okay. Also, let me say this again. These are why I'm focusing on why. Then I will then go to the how. How many of you agree with me that it's currently costing you an average of $35,000 to be running the program you're currently running? If you agree, type I agree. Average of $35,000 for you to have your degree. For masters in some schools, Harvard is over $100,000 to do your masters or your MBA in Harvard. I know a lot about that. So it's a lot of money. Now, how many of you agree with me that you might have to be paying your student loan till you are 50? Again, if you agree, type I agree. By the way, for those of you joining me across my other social media, because I'm streaming this on my social media handle, this training is with Nigerian students, African students in diaspora. many of them the US and some in South Africa. So please, my audience who are watching, that's why I'm focused on, students and students, okay? So again, how many of you agree with me that you might have to be still be paying your student loan even when you are 50? Now, some of you may want to disagree with me, but there are a lot of people who are currently are doing that. The former governorship aspirant under the Democrats in Atlanta, Georgia, who knows her name, okay, she's still paying her student loan even while contesting as a governor of a state. I'm not if you're aware of that. Okay, I'm not if you're aware of that. If you're aware, type I'm aware. So is that serious? Is that serious? Where you might have to still be paying your student loan to your latter years. Again, some of you may be able to pay it early. By the grace of God, hopefully you get a good job, but many still have to pay it a long, long time to come. So, having seen all of these, then it's important that while you're trying to get some of the best degrees in the world, you begin to focus on how to build wealth for yourself. However, let me say this, and this is very important, that it is not wrong to get a degree or get an MBA or get a PhD. It is also not wrong to get a job. Okay, it's important, in fact, to get a job. But do you know nobody has ever become wealthy by getting a job? I've seen people who hate their employers when they are older and claim their employers were the reasons why they are not wealthy, why they are poor. And that's not true because employment was never designed to make you wealthy. It was never done that way. The system was never designed to make you wealthy. And ultimately, your wealth is in your hands. You have to take personal responsibility for your personal wealth. And I want everybody to type it. I, Stephen Akintayo, make a vow to take a personal responsibility to build my wealth. I want you to type this. I vow not to delegate my wealth responsibility to my employer. I want everybody to type it. Come on. Guys, I love people engaging me. I want you to type it. I, Steve Akitaya, vow not to delegate the responsibility of my wealth to my employer. So building wealth has to be your own personal responsibility. There's nothing wrong with getting a job, like I said, but you have to personally take responsibility for building wealth for yourself. You have to say to yourself, I want to take personal responsibility for being wealthy. It's my job, it's my responsibility. Now, an average student is probably earning $8, $10. If you have some good job, maybe $20 an hour. Nobody can become wealthy with $20 an hour. It will make you look like the young man that I told you was very angry with me because you need to know how long it took him to get 9,000 pounds. It must have taken years and years. And it is silly and angry and annoying for in his own perception for me to be ridiculing 9,000 pounds. And that wasn't what I was doing. I'm just sharing my own reality of where I am now. Okay, that at least if you're going to insult me, it has to be a lot more than 9,000 pounds, right? If you're going to barge into my space, you have to be willing. It has to be that you're trying to deal with me far more than that. Because people who do transaction with me to the tune of 100, don't give me all those crap, right? I don't trust people. I'm not sure, right? I've built reputation over the years so that I don't get those kind of stories. But if you don't want to put yourself in those kind of situations, the little money is big money for you. You have to take personal responsibility. So who is ready on how to build wealth as a student? If you're ready for that type, I'm ready. Oh, I'm ready. Come on, guys. By the way, also, I need feedback. Are you enjoying this class? If you're enjoying this class, can you type, I'm enjoying this? I want to see how many of you are enjoying. If you're also not enjoying it, you can type, I'm not enjoying this. Feel free, come on. Be sincere with me. If you're also not enjoying it, you can just say, you know what? I'm not enjoying this. I prefer to go and meet my professor. Okay, talk to me, guys. Okay, if you're not enjoying it, you can also tell me I am not enjoying this, right? I prefer, to listen to my professor in class. Okay, beautiful. I can see a lot more. I enjoying this and having a great time. So, steps to building wealth as a student. Number one, and this is very, very important, spend less than you are earning as a student. Spend less than you're earning. Some of you probably have scholarship. Some of you have parental support to do this, your studies. Some of you have won grants. Some of you are combining this with a job. I want you to live below your means as a student. It's very important. I did it while I was a student, and I did it not because I wasn't having a decent income. My mother was a civil servant, but what she was giving me was reasonable. Um, I did because I had more bills to pay. And I want to know that you have two responsibilities more importantly right now. While you're a student, because sometimes, except for those of you who probably are sponsoring yourself, you have some form of assistance. This is the best time to also go to the school of wealth. I call it financial intelligence school or becoming financially literate. So I did that. So while I was in the university, I divided my money into two. A good portion was going to some of the businesses I was doing, and a good portion was going to buying books and going for seminars that were teaching how to become wealthy. If you are not mocked, you can be made. Many of my colleagues started mocking me. Allow them to be deceiving you. All these motivational speakers, all these people, let them be deceiving you. Yeah, yeah. And it was ridiculous because after a while, those motivational speakers got into my head. I started telling my colleagues in the university that I was 10 years ahead of them. I stopped attending classes as regular as I should because I was busy trying to run one business or the other. So my colleagues started feeling something was wrong with me. And of course, I wasn't dressing well because I wasn't using my money to buy the best of clothes. I was giving to all these motivational speakers and buying their books and going for seminars, and I looked like a madman. But guys, 12 years later, to the glory of God, I've built a multi-billion naira corporation. So ultimately, those motivational guys deceiving me were right. I was right to have been buying books on wealth. I was right to have been going for seminars on wealth. Like the organizers of this event, do you want to clap for him? Okay, use the clap sign to just clap for him for doing this. What he did was exactly what I was doing. I was a student, yet I would be organizing seminars for my colleagues about how to build wealth. But only thing was I wasn't wealthy. And I didn't even look wealthy. At least if I would I patched it more than 4 times, right? So it was always wet when it rains because my stockings would be wet. There were holes in my shoes. It was Kano, right? I was never permitted to buy brand new clothes or shirts or shoes. I mean, for what, how, where? It has to be, I go to the best, Okrika market and, get the best. But guess what? I did best to make sure my clothes were well starched and, I did laundry, but trust me, I didn't look the part. And many mocked me and laughed at me. And so your first responsibility now that you're a student is to live below your means. And why are you doing that? Number two, use that money you are saving to educate yourself about how to build wealth. Okay? Books on money. You need to start reading them. One of the first books I read on money is Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. If you've read the book, type one. If you have not been able to read that book, type two. Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. If you read the book, type one. If you've not, type two. Let me see. Okay? Wow, Chika, you've not seen the book. Please go get it. It's available on Amazon. It's by Robert Kiyosaki. A powerful book. Rich Dad Poor Dad. Robert Kiyosaki's father was a PhD holder, and yet they were poor. And his friend's dad does not have even masters. I'm not sure the man had a first degree. Maybe he had a first degree. But the man was richer. So his friend's dad is the one he called the rich dad. His own father was the one he called the poor dad. And he did a powerful contrast between the rich and the poor. The way they think, the way they reason, their mindset. How his father, he having PhD and was a teacher, was relying on the government and on his employer to become rich, while the other man, the friend of his father, was and he was lucky that at least at the age of 9 he wasn't happy with the way the family were financially, and he told his father he wanted to learn how to be rich. Even the father had to tell him to go and meet his friend's father, that's the person who probably can teach you a thing or two about money. So please, everybody, I want to beg you, go read that book, Rich Dad Poor Dad. That'll be the first book I'll be recommending. It will open you up on understanding the subject of money. So the reason why you should be living below your means is so that a portion of your money can be can be put into buying books, can be put into buying some of this, going for some of these seminars. I agree with you, right? Some of those things will look like these people are just deceiving you and they're collecting your money. I felt that way too, but I was foolish enough to do it. And trust me, today I'm grateful I did it. Right? Number two, if you're ready for number three, a way to build wealth as a student. If you're ready, type I'm ready. Number three, start a business as a student. And please fail very quickly. One of the things that you must never be afraid to do as a student is to fail. I mean, I can understand if uh, um, those who are just uh, afraid. But remember, where as a student, you're supposed to be carrying out experiments. The entire concept of going to school is about hypothesis, it's about research, it's about making mistakes, it's about trial and error. Do you remember? So it does not make sense that you're a student and you're afraid of failing. You're afraid of trying a business and starting a business and failing at the business. It doesn't make any sense because those are the things you're supposed to occupy yourself with now that you're a student. Try and figure out what can I do. And you want to fail fast, you want to fail quick, you want to fail early. And that was what I did. I will tell you some of the businesses I did. I hawked electronics in Djibouti when there was ASU strike. I sold popcorn in the fellowship in the church I was attending. I felt that after service, a lot of our colleagues were hungry, and before they got home, I could do popcorn for them, and they would buy popcorn from me and start eating that before they get home after church service. And it worked. At some point, I even got a space in the school campus, and I was selling popcorn. I sold books. I organized trade fairs, right? Many of these businesses, they were beneath my level. Some people were mocking me, felt that, I was a student, man, you're a big boy. You should have been doing that. Okay. But guess what? I have been able to build billions of naira in asset today because of the failures of those campus experience. And if I didn't do while I was on campus, when I still had somebody supporting my education or supporting my sustainability, I wouldn't have succeeded doing it when I finished school, when I got married and had bills, and I needed to take care of myself because I'm now an adult and I needed to be responsible for my own bills. Is this making sense at all? If it's making sense, type this is making sense. It makes sense, it makes sense, it makes sense. Everybody engage me. If this is making sense, type it makes sense, it makes sense, it makes sense. Everybody, I'm waiting. If it's making sense, type it makes sense, it makes sense, it makes sense. So very important that um, you want to start business on campus. Find something you can do around. One of the businesses I started as a student was selling CDs. The DVD, then DVD was doing well in Nigeria. Of course, we use DVD now. So I had these discs where I stored books, different books, and I started selling them in the university. Some of the books were on marriage, on relationship. Some of the books were on um, how to design a website. I mean, there were a bunch of over 200 books. There were PLR books, so I had the right to resell them. And I did that, and in fact, one of the first person who bought it for me eventually became my head of department. The HOD of my department was a professor who also was, he's been a professor and worked and was still struggling financially and wanted to start learning how to build wealth. And so when he saw that some of the books there include Acres of Diamond, Rich Dad Poor Dad, a couple of books that were, self-help motivational books, he was interested in getting them. And that was one of the first businesses I started. If I had to get family and friends to contribute money to help me raise the capital that I used to start marketing that books, this digital copy. But it was one of those things I did, and I'm proud that I started that small, and I encourage you to do the same. Number four that you need to do, and this is very important, you need to then start investing some of the loose funds that you begin to make, either from savings, either from business you're doing. You need to learn to start investing. Investment is different from business. In the case of an investment, it is a way of making money work for you. Investment is something you do where you don't put in your time, only that your money is involved. So how do you invest? You want to do land banking because you still have years and years ahead of you as a student. You want to you want to do land banking. Buy a place that has not developed yet and leave it for a few years, and it will have become something massive. I remember listening to Steve Harvey. I don't know if you know Steve Harvey. If you know Steve Harvey type, I know him. Steve Harvey is an American comedian and motivational speaker. He bought a particular property a couple of years ago. He said he wanted just a property that was, I think, 2-3 acres, and he talked about how maybe he only had over $100,000 to do that. And bottom, cut the long story short, the property is less than 10 years old now. It's worth over $1 million. Yeah, it's for 6 acres, I guess. And today that property is worth millions of dollars. There's a motivational video where he shared that experience. Last, what land banking does. You buy the place. It's not the city center, but you leave it for a couple of years and watch the property go high, right? So you want to do land banking. It's something powerful. That is also in Nigeria, where an opportunity to be putting $2,000 into a property, in Bejuleki, in somewhere in Ikorodu. Lagos, I recommend because Lagos is the fastest growing city in Nigeria. Over 30,000 people move to Lagos every day. 50% of the VATs in Nigeria is from Lagos. Over 65% of the businesses that are doing well in Nigeria is in Lagos. So that is really where it's happening. So the concept of land banking is that you want to buy the outskirts of a major city. So any property around Lagos is somewhere you want to buy and leave it for a couple of years to appreciate. So right now you probably have a 2-year program. Some of you have a 3-year program. Some of you have a 5-year program. If you commit $2,000 right into land banking, by the time you're through with your school, you probably will have gotten no less than 1 acre or 2 acre. If you leave it for another 10 years, I promise you, you have real gold in your hands. Okay, of course, shares is key, but I'm no longer recommending that as much as I used to. Forex is key if you are the one trading it. Cryptocurrency is good if you are the one trading it. So I will only, all those high risk investment like Forex, like cryptocurrency, I only recommend them if you're doing it by yourself. If you're going to give the money to somebody to do it for you, I probably would advise you do it. You probably put that into property because that is the only real investment. I hope I've shared a thing or two. I hope you've picked a thing or two. I just had my tooth removed recently, so speaking has been a bit hard. I've been battling with headache and things like that, but I have all these engagements and I have to keep to them. I just got back in, but I said I needed to do this. I want to thank the organizer for bringing me. I want to thank you for listening. And I hope you learn from this. The last point I'm going to mention, I want you to also monetize your skill now that you're a student. How many of you know that I've written 35 books and they're all on Amazon? Okay? I write books the same way as my age. How many of you are aware? If you know, type I know. If you don't know, type I don't know. I make over 100,000 US dollars from writing books. So find a way to monetize your skill or your talent, right? You can sing, you can write, you can speak. Find a way to monetize it. For you to do that, you need experience and you need training. You need a mentor, you need a coach, you need training courses for you to make this work. Finally, you need to know for anything you want to do. If you want to do a business, have a mentor, have a business mentor. If you want to become rich, have what we call a financial mentor. Okay, mentors are feathers, they help you to fly. Mentors are ladders, you need to climb them to get to the top. Okay, every father has a father. To think you can become wealthy without a mentor is to be daydreaming. How many of you, by the way, have a business mentor? Type one. If you don't, type two. Or you have a financial mentor. If you have, type one. If you don't, type two. Please, role models are different from mentors. Mentors are people you are running a program. Okay, so if you are not under their program, then they can't be your mentor. Right? Somebody will say Stephen Akita is my mentor, but really, are you in a Stephen Akita program? Okay, so you just watch me and listen to me, and you just assume I'm your mentor. Because a true mentor, you should be able to have some level of access to be able to have questions answered, particularly when you run into trouble in the same area they are mentoring you. I love you all and thank you for listening. I'm going to take a few questions. God bless you. By the way, if you've gotten value, type I got value, I got value. Come on, guys. I've taken, I think, an hour or so teaching you. The least you can do is to let me know if it's worth your time. And by the way, you didn't need to pay $35,000, dollars for this particular course. God bless you all.
Thank you, Dr. Stephen Akintayo. It's nice talking with you, and I personally have got value from the discussion we've had with us today. I want to appreciate you so much for honoring our invitation and coming on this program. It's been a wonderful time listening to you speak to us. Okay, the floor is open for questions from participants today. If you have any question, please I'd like you to unmute yourself and ask your questions, or you can type your question in the chat box. I have some questions, but I would like others to go first. So if you have any question, please feel free to unmute yourself and ask your questions. Okay.
Hi. Yes, my name is Jerry. Thank you very much, Mr. Stephen Akintayo. That was so enlightening. And I'm always of the opinion that if I really want money, of course, book can't really give me what I always wanted. So I quite agree with that. But my question is concerning, you mentioned, so like one of the ways of investing our loose funds, that's land banking.
Go ahead, please. Is he there?
Jerry? Hope you.
that are fraud free. Exactly. Thank you very much.
Jerry, we didn't hear you well. Can you please repeat your question? It seems the network,
Okay.
there was a network.
Okay. Yes. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear
Yes.
you now.
I'm saying that my major question is on buying land, particularly in Nigeria. Now, of course, we are all aware that sometimes when you buy land, you realize that maybe you bought, as others people also bought. So, how do you find trusted people to buy land from? Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Very good question. I think that's also why you need to have financial mentors, because these are some of the things that your financial mentor definitely will be an investor, right? So he knows how he has been able to invest in properties in a secured way, and he or she will then be able to help you to do the same. I'm into that sector, and I've been able to do that by also having mentors in those sectors who were able to teach me how to navigate my ways. But primarily, I advise that you don't buy from Monile. Try to get credible companies that you can buy through them. Ultimately, that helps you to have civilized conversations. When you buy from Monile, I mean, it's a whole different code of ethics with Moniles. It's a whole code of ethics, and the way we have to handle them, we are able to handle them just because we are dealing in volume, so it's sustainable. I remember one of our estates. I was still there today in one of our estates, and one of the guys was reaching me and say they are youth development money. And that doesn't make sense to me because I'm the one doing the road for the entire location, right? I'm talking of doing community road now. I'm doing a community road of about 50 million naira for everyone who lives in that area. And yet you're telling me to pay 3 million naira for community development. I don't get it. What is that money for? But you see, those conversations are easier for people like me because I don't buy one plot. I don't buy 1 acre. I buy probably 50, 100, 200 acres. So it's easy for me to be able to handle those people. And everybody who then buys property through me do not go through all those arguments, right? Because you just go and you build on your land. Nobody's harassing you because we have had to pay all those money. We've had to interact and do all those things on your behalf. And so that makes sense for you ultimately because you have somebody else helping you, which is also technically some form of mentorship, really. But you want to look for credible real estate companies, not individuals, that you can buy from, and that can go a long way to help you. Another way is also having mentors, investment mentors. Whatever qualifies someone to be your mentor is that they are already successful at what they are trying to teach you, which is sometimes the mistake some of us make, right? We pick mentors based on proximity or whatever sentiment, rather than picking people who have results. There are some of my mentors who don't believe Jesus is Lord. I believe Jesus is Lord, right? There are some of my mentors who are struggling with their marriage. I want to have a very successful marriage, right? But I'm not with them for marriage. I'm not with them because Jesus rose from the dead. I have a pastor who teaches me how to go to heaven, right? So, and that's where some of us miss these things, right? We're not very focused on why am I trying to learn from this person, right? I have some of my mentors who are not the nicest human being on earth. But of course, if I'm looking for a nice person, I know where to go, right? But I want to learn how to either succeed in business or how to succeed in building wealth. That's why I decided to make this person my mentor. I'm not looking for Mr. Nice. So those are some of the factors and important thing to focus on. If you can get a financial mentor who is already successful in business, he or she can help you to navigate how to do investment without losing money. Also, try to buy from companies, credible, known, reputable real estate companies, rather than buying, through Monile.
All right, thank you so much. I would I would like to ask my question. If anyone other person has a question, please you can ask. Um, I would like to ask a question. Thank you, Dr. Akintayo, for sharing with us those key points. I'd like to ask, what are those different ways of investing in Nigeria as graduate students? A lot of graduate students have some little, some money to like save, and sometimes they are afraid, they are skeptical about where to save the money. You've talked about land banking, which you do. I would like you to talk about it more and what GTEx Homes does, and so that other people can contact you and get to know more about what you are doing. And maybe we can you can refer us to a particular website where others that are listening to you can also go to also check it out, and how trustworthy and the good testimony of people about what they have seen and what has happened when he partnered with you. So I would like to ask, apart from land banking, are there other ways that one can invest in Nigeria? And what is the average amount of money that a graduate student can invest in land? For example, in with your estates, like how much is it, and something like that. I'd like you to explain more.
Well, thank you for that question. First of all, there are definitely a lot of ways to invest in Nigeria and get good returns. Agriculture is one of them. I'm just careful some of the recommendations I made because my experience has been that sometimes when you refer something that you don't have control over, at the end of the day, people then say, there was one man that came on social media and webinar and told us to put our money in X, and we got our hands burnt. So, which is part of why one of the things I taught you guys was you needing to take personal responsibility for your wealth, right? And they need to do that. But there are definitely several ways. My advice would just be that whatever way you want to go, be sure that you know what you're going into. For example, if you want to do land banking, go and Google what is land banking, how does land banking work, or, what are the processes, so that you know what you're getting to. If you want to invest in agriculture, what is agriculture? How does agriculture work in Nigeria? So that you even know gestation period in terms of return on investment. Because if you don't, it's never wise to invest in something you don't. I'm not saying that you are in that environment, but that you know how this thing operates, right? What are the expectations of that industry? So that will be my advice. As regards businesses, there are several businesses I teach, from e-commerce to freelancing to affiliate marketing, several, and I'll advise you to join. I'm one of the pioneers of the first, if I the first wealth university in the world, where even though we give you certificate like normal universities and e-learning university, online university, where you will learn how to either start a business or financial intelligence. I still get a certificate, but this time around you don't need to get a job, right? Because obviously what we're teaching you is how you can use these things we're teaching you to either start a job or be able to make, manage, multiply wealth. Some of you think that's cool, so you can always visit www.stephenakitauniversity.com and sign up. It's a monthly subscription program, right, where you pay a token. What I have to do is that it's $250 every month for you to remain on the platform. There are over 1,000 video courses. You can run as many certifications on the platform as possible. Somebody says, are we affiliated with any university? For Christ's sake, there's no university that teach you how to make money. So it doesn't make any sense for us to be affiliated with any university, right? No university teach you how to make money. They are not wired for that. So what I've done is that for all of you who are here, we have decided to crash the price from $250 every month to $1.47 for the first 2 weeks. and subsequently $47 every month. I don't know if you think that's cool. So in a year, you will spend less than, in fact, 1% of what you pay in a conventional university. And I promise you, you will have made, you know, over 10,000% times more of what you're spending to be in the university because of the kind of exposure that you're going to be having in that class. High risk investment, I'm responding to Tolu Lopez's question. High risk investment is also part of what you learn in university. I think university is the best place to send you guys to, okay, because there's so much of what you're going to be learning there, and it relates so much to, so, you know, you just are able to have that foundational knowledge that guides you better. But as for our real estate, if you're interested, you can visit www.gtexhomes.com. You can call the office. Um, they will be able to give you all the details about the various properties that we have and costing. You know, we are not really that cheap. I think the cheapest of our property is 2 million naira, which should be maybe like 5,000 or $6,000 or so. So we're not like you know, we don't like cheap property like that. Because what we've been able to do is to make sure we kind of sell properties where, you know, even if it's 20 years or 50 years, you come back to Nigeria, your property is there for you, right? We fence it around, you know, provide basic infrastructure, you know, do it properly, create a community like the one you're used to in diaspora. So as a result, nothing of value comes cheap, right? Because it comes with a cost. But you can go to the website www.gtexhomes.com and you can reach the office. We run 247, so anytime you can call the office, somebody will be there to attend to you. Yeah. So I hope I've answered the questions.
Yes, you've answered the question. Thank you so much. Do you have any other question? Anyone? If you want to ask any question, please unmute yourself and ask. This is time to ask question.
Hello, everyone. Thanks so much, Mr. Stephen. Thanks to the speaker as well. It's been very informative. I just wanted to ask, do stocks come under high risk investments as well, or are they closely related to shares? I just wanted to probably just ask, I mean, this is probably a layman question, how the stock market works. Sometimes because it gets so confusing, you know, it's very complex, and then sometimes I don't seem to make enough sense of it. But I just wanted to know how stocks work and how high risk it is or how dependable it is.
Thank you very much. Very good question. Definitely, shares. There are two ways. Just like in the property, you know, when you're buying shares, you're either buying, you know, we call it, is it passive trader now? So maybe you're buying for the long term, and then you have active trader. Really. But when you are into passive trading, most likely again, but sometimes people don't have that education, so they don't even know what they're trying to go into. But when you're into passive trading, then that makes sense. Many people still don't even know that the likes of Warren Buffett, the oracle of Omaha, who is believed to be the greatest genius when it comes to buying shares, is not an active trader. People don't even know that, right? Warren Buffett is a passive trader, and he hardly buys any shares that he cannot keep for 20 years, right? Um, so the reality is, a lot of us go into stocks and shares and forex and all of these things again without having the foundational knowledge of what exactly we're doing. So what then happened is a situation where we think we have done the right thing, but we're actually in a very high risk, world. However, I'm never going to advise you not to invest in a high risk investment. What I always advise is that divide your investment money into three. Put a portion into low risk, like real estate. Real estate is the lowest of the low when it comes to risk. And the reason is because real estate is you can touch it, right? Whatever happens, your land is there if you're able to buy from the right source. But shares can disappear. A stock can totally be wiped out, right? So, and that's why they call it real estate. It's real, it's tangible. Um, so ultimately, low risk like real estate is a good one. Mid risk is real estate still falls under mid risk, but there are several other mid risk. Then you have a high risk. So divide your money into three: a portion into high risk, mid risk, and low risk. Somebody will say, how do I know whether it's high risk or low or mid? The returns on investment, right? It is in forex, in shares, active trading that you can literally make 50% return, 100% return, 200% return in a week, in a day, right? Um, but you can lose everything, including your capital, in a second. So realizing all that then means that you spread, all these risks so that whatever happens, at least I'm safe to a level. So that's why I always advise people. So don't forget there's active trade, there's passive trade. Passive trade, I just look at the future of a particular company, I buy some of their shares, I leave it for years. And look at Elon Musk, look at PayPal when they started, look at Uber when they did their IPO, look at Amazon, look at Apple. These are companies. Some people passively traded in these companies and they are very, very wealthy today. But active trading is you are able to make money whether the shares goes higher or goes low. It's almost like betting of some sort. I hope it's very clear. I hope I answered your question very well.
Okay, said yes. All right. Any other question before we run off for this month's edition? Any other question? I can see that we are streamed live on YouTube and on Facebook. So any question from? I'm not sure if anyone is asking a question from Facebook or YouTube, but if there's no other question for today, I want to thank you, Mr. Stephen Akintayo, for making it today and coming to speak to us. I believe that other people that have been listening will also attest to the fact that it's a great one. And action is is the result of getting the right information and working in it. When you work in the right information, you get success. Success, opportunities plus preparation is equal to success. That's what you have proven to us today. Thank you so much for coming, and we appreciate you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay. Okay, on behalf of all the participants of this edition of Success Power, I want to thank you so much for coming. And I want to also see a thumbs up or cheers from the audience in respect to that. Say thank you so much for coming today. And until we come your way next month, keep succeeding. Don't forget that as a graduate student, your success is very important. You need to work towards it every time. You need to learn. And if you want to get to know more about our speaker today, you can get across to him through those platforms on his websites, and he's also very active on Facebook, on YouTube. You can check for his name.
Yeah, I will also recommend my YouTube channel. There's over 1,000 videos there that is going to change their lives. I really encourage that they go there. And of course, the Sinacta University is really revolutionary. Like I said, For those of you who are joining today, instead of $2.47 dollar, you have the opportunity to pay $1.47, and every month you pay $47. So that's even you can't even get a Starbucks coffee for $1.47, at least for the first 2 weeks. And you can cancel. You don't want to be renewing it every month because it's auto, debit. So it's a subscription model. So again, once again, thank you for inviting me. For those who are asking, it's www.stephenakintayouniversity.com. Okay, www.stephenakintayouniversity.com. Again, www.stephenakintayouniversity.com. I love you all and thank you, the host, for having me. I appreciate you for bringing me here. God bless you all. Bye bye.
Right, thank you for coming. All right. Bye, everyone. See you next month.